Welcome to IAS Market Talk, your trusted source for timely ag market insights, brought to you by Innovative Ag Services. Each week, we break down the latest beef market trends impacting Northeast Iowa and Southwest Wisconsin, with expert updates tailored specifically for our IAS members. This week, you'll hear directly from Dave Rueber, IAS Beef Production Specialist, who brings decades of experience and deep knowledge of the cattle industry to these conversations. Dave has been providing market updates to producers for years, and now he's bringing those insights straight to you through this podcast. Tune in weekly for what you need to know straight from people you know. With that, here's Dave Rueber with the latest on what's happening in the cattle markets this week.
David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag Services, calling with a beef market commentary for August 5th. What a difference 2 weeks can make. 2 weeks ago we were struggling to get 230 bids out there. Not very many cattle sold 2 weeks ago. Then last week rolled around. Not a lot of cattle sold, but it was at better money. 235 was kind of catching last week's market. And then this week rolls around. We knew one of the major packers was short bought. Bids showing up this afternoon. Nothing really trading yet. The bids showing up at 240. That may or may not be FOB. So call it another $4 to $5 higher. And like I said, not really anything trading yet. That's happening on a Wednesday, on an up day on the board. So good signs showing here. Looks like we're going to rebound $10 in 2 weeks. Futures market helping us out. Box beef values coming back up. Just lots of things turning positive instead of the crap that we had 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, good news. That's where we're at. So looking at like a 240 market, maybe even a tick higher if that board would be, quite a bit up again tomorrow and boxes continue to show strength. So lots of positive news going on. If fat cattle are rebounding, feeder cattle are going back up too, and they certainly are. We're not back to where we were 4 weeks ago on feeder cattle prices, but we are certainly a bunch higher than what they were 2 weeks ago. That 8-weight steer, that was 340 or less 2 weeks ago is now back up there in the high 250s, pushing 260. I'm sorry, 350s and 360 for those cattle. So we've put a bunch back on to feeder cattle. I'd say $10, plus market in the last week on feeders. The 6 weights, if you can find them, they're back up in that 4 1/4 or higher range for those steers. Heifers are backed up about $25 back of the steers. Cost of gains right now, I'm still using a smidge over $1, thinking maybe that'll be plenty high, but you got winter weather going to be factored into these cattle we're buying right now. So, you can have a 5 to 10 cent change in that cost of gain depending on what the winter weather does to them. So using a little bit more than $1 for steers, $1.08 for heifers for cost of gain. Down the road, looks like interest got a chance to be a little bit higher coming in September. Wet feed continues to be a pretty good buy. It hasn't changed much. Hay's kind of stabilized, tough grinding hay, $100 a ton, maybe a tick less than that. So, yeah, feed value is not too bad. Corn market looks like it's going to be 4 1/4, give or take a little bit. It's, tough thing is that fat market's worked up $10, but a lot of these break-evens, 240 won't hold a lot of these fats together for price-wise, but definitely working in the right direction. So, yep, keep kind of looking at that thing. A guy can't feed them forever, but don't sell them light either. Those yearling steers, you need to be taken into the high 15s just because of where their break-even's at. Once again, my name is David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag. Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode of IAS Market Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an update. And if you know a fellow producer who could benefit from this information, share this episode with them. For more updates and insights, visit innovativeag.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll catch you next time on IAS Market Talk.
Are you ready for a hands-on role with purpose? Join the facility operations team at Innovative Ag Services, where we value hard work, safety, and community. With locations across Northeast and Central Iowa and Southwest Wisconsin, we offer industry-leading benefits, on-the-job training, and a culture that supports your growth. From competitive pay to a uniform allowance, we invest in our team. Grow with IAS and discover your co-opportunity. Apply today at innovativeag.com.